All right, good evening. Thank you all for being here and welcome to the People's Caucus of Briarcliff Manor 2024 nomination meeting. I ask that you please stand for the pledge and will Keith Austin please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So once again, good evening. My name is Aaron Spring. I'm the Executive Chairman of the People's Caucus of Briarcliff Manor, and I'm here with my Executive Board, Kathy Bhattacharya, Susan Cabral, and Ken Dangler. We thank you for joining us on this cold January night to continue our tradition here in the village of Briarcliff. I just want to go over a brief history of our caucus. We have existed for over 100 years, and we have served the Briarcliff Manor village, or the village of Briarcliff Manor, in a nonpartisan way for over 100 years. Collectively, we have come together and put any partisan differences and national politics aside to get business done for the village. And we thank former and current trustees for continuing to lead our village in a productive manner, in a cohesive manner, and in a manner that's conducive to the progression of all citizens and lives of our citizens. I just want to get a few items out of the way and then we'll get right into the nominations. First, I would like to go over the reading and the approval of the minutes of last year's January 2023 annual meeting.
I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes.
There has been a motion to dispense of the reading of the minutes of 2023. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. I'd now like to open up the nominations for the position of village trustee. This year we have 3 positions open. 2 are for an expired term, so it'll be a 2-year term, and two for an expired term, and 1 for an unexpired term.
Oh, no.
Yes, so one position for the unexpired term, which will be a 1-year position, and 2 positions for a term that expires, and that position will be until 2026. The unexpired term, the 1-year term, will be until 2025. I would like to start with a nomination for the unexpired term first. Do we have any nominations for the unexpired term, which will expire in 2025?
Keith Austin, 55 Hawthorne Place, and I would like to nominate Malcolm Netburn for that position.
For the unexpired term? I'm sorry, for the 2-year term.
1-year term. You said 1 year.
Yes. So Kevin, aren't you going for the 1-year term? So, no worries. So this is going to be for the 1-year term.
No. Correct. That's Malcolm.
Malcolm's running for 2 years.
He's running for the 2-year term. No worries, no worries.
We'll edit all this later, right?
Yeah, yes.
Kevin Hunt.
So let the record please reflect that the nominator is
Reverend Anthony Carlin.
Reverend Anthony Carlick of
Briarcliff Manor.
Briarcliff Manor. He has nominated Kevin Hunt for the 1-year unexpired term. Do we have a second?
I second.
And please state your name for the record.
Susan Netburn.
Susan Netburn has seconded, and please state your address if you so please.
64 Farm Road.
Let the record reflect the address, please. Are there any other nominations for the 1-year unexpired term? Seeing none, I move to close the nominations for the 1-year unexpired term. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I now will take nominations for the 2-year terms. Do we have any nominations for the 2 positions for the 2-year village trustee terms? Mr. Austin?
Now, Coach. I apologize, Keith Austin.
No worries.
I apologize.
That's okay. Do you want to, you're going to give your speech after we close the nominations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're welcome to nominate him from here.
Go right ahead. I'll make my speech after you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Please state your name and address, if you please.
Robert Altamari, 37 Farm Road.
Let the record please reflect the second. For the second position, do we have any nominations?
Yes.
My name is Barry Bozak, B-O-S-A-K, 15 Old Sleepy Hollow Road, and I'm nominating Rhea Mallett for the 2-year term.
Let the record please reflect the nomination and the address. Do we have a second for Rhea Mallett?
Hi, second. Mirabelle Mallett from 57 Old Sleepy Hollow Road.
Thank you. Please let the record reflect the second name and address. Are there any other nominations for the 2-year terms? Seeing none, I move to close the nominations. All in favor? Aye. So moved. We will now go on to nomination speeches. And with former Mayor Keith Austin already up here, we are going to start with a 3-minute speech for Trustee Knepper.
I will get this right. Good evening. Sometimes good things happen unexpectedly, and when they do, it's best to take advantage of them right away without equivocating, carpe diem, if you will, which brings me to Malcolm Netburn. Malcolm moved to Briarcliff 8 years ago, bringing with him an exemplary business and civic resume and willingness to volunteer for public service. As a Pleasantville resident, Malcolm was on its planning board for 5 years, was an elected village trustee for 4 years. In his professional life, he at one point was a small business owner and developed a good understanding of how local government can affect positively or negatively small businesses. Later in his career, he was a CEO of a reasonably large company, which hones managerial skills, finance, strategic planning personnel, and so on and so forth. Then subsequently formed his own consulting firm, where success, of course, is measured in terms of how well you persuade, not tell your clients what it is they should be doing. These are invaluable skills for a village trustee, particularly with the land use and other issues facing the village. After moving to Briarcliff and when his professional life allowed, Malcolm volunteered for village service and was appointed first to the planning board, where he served as a member and chairman, and then recently was appointed a village trustee to fill the position created by Trustee Midgley's resignation. I've observed his commitment, competence, and communication skills these last 2 years, and I am very pleased, therefore, to nominate him for a full term as village trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Mr. Netburn, I'd like to invite you up for a 5-minute acceptance speech. Thank you.
Thank you, former Mayor Keith Austin, for the nomination, and to my neighbor Bob Altomari for seconding the nomination, and to Aaron Spring and the caucus committee here for stewarding this wonderful example of participatory and grassroots democracy. It's really an amazing tradition, and I hope it lasts another 100 years. I appreciate the chance here tonight to extend my current role as trustee. Keith has graciously, and thank you, Keith, outlined my civic and business experiences that I believe qualify me to continue as a village trustee. Just to expand slightly, as the CEO of a $180 million subsidiary of the Hearst Company for 14 years, I was responsible for about 3,000 employees across 16 different locations. And this included, as Keith mentioned, financial management, long-term technology and infrastructure. We had probably 30 trucks, several million square feet of warehouse and distribution, things I'm very familiar with as we look at the needs of our community here. My civic experience spans over 30 years, serving both the adjacent village of Pleasantville and Briarcliff. In Pleasantville, my experience began quite a few years ago with the review of zoning issues. I was then appointed to the Planning Commission and the Conservation Advisory Council before being elected as a village trustee for 4 years. I also served as deputy mayor in Pleasantville. Where's Peter? A position that we all know is already well covered here in Briarcliff. Peter always mentions that when I remind him that I too was a deputy mayor. Is he worried? I don't think so. In Briarcliff, I was, until recently, chairman of the planning board. When Ned Migley moved from the village, I applied to fill his remaining term as trustee, and the board agreed I could better serve the village in that expanded role. I currently serve as a trustee as liaison to the library board, the Ossining School District, and have been asked to work on fiscal and governmental efficiencies. That piece I love to do. More important than my resume is the lessons and skills I bring from both my civic and professional work to the role of trustee. And I'd like to share some of those with you. There are 5 lessons that I think are critical to helping to steward our village that I learned over my years. Excellence is a skill that must, excellence is a skill that must continually be worked on and nurtured. Past success does not guarantee future results. I constantly ask myself, what more can I do to contribute to our community? How can I be the best trustee I can be on both small and large issues or concerns? Second, transparency and honesty combined with clear and open communication are key ingredients for delivering exceptional work. They were critical when I was the CEO and are equally important when representing our residents, our village employees, and our business owners. 3, there is no substitute for hard work. Every project, every dollar spent, every issue requires careful attention, getting the facts and deliberating before making any decisions. In that regard, my fellow board members who are here tonight have set a very high standard, and it has paid off to this community. On both the Briarcliff Planning Board and the Pleasantville Planning Commission, I have championed finding common ground with all involved parties. It is not about winning, it's about succeeding, finding solutions that can work for all impacted parties. My role as the chief executive of a Midwestern company, number 5, taught me about the importance of humility and honesty. It taught me that empowering others to fully engage in a shared mission and to learn from each other is what ultimately drives success. Those are some of my takeaways from a long business career and years of dedicated volunteer service. It is with that background and understanding that I commit today to continue to deliver excellent service to our community. Public service is a sacred duty, demanding the best from each of us. If re-elected trustee, I pledge to bring my skills, my effort, and my passion to keep Briarcliff an exceptional place to live and to work. And I thank you for your time and your continued support.
Thank you, Trustee Netburn. I'd now like to invite Mr. Bozak up to nominate Trustee Rhea Mallett. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Caucus Committee. I seem to follow Keith Austin all the time in my life, from his strong serve in platform tennis to business school, and we are the chief gravediggers at the Briarcliff Congregational Church, and I am not following him there. In any case, I'm Barry Bozak, a resident of the village since 1968, living on Old Sleepy Hollow Road since 1973. Having observed our elected officials and town proceedings for some time, I'm happy to appear again and nominate my neighbor and friend, Rhea Mallett, for another 2-year term as village trustee. I think Rhea has served the village well by immersing herself in village issues and doing the job for which she was elected in 2022. I point out 3 reasons that I think Rhea is a good candidate for re-election. 1, she has demonstrated involvement in the community, from running Briarcliff's local census count to focusing on major issues before she was elected. 2, she has unbounded energy, and you can see that, and successfully juggles many responsibilities while running a law practice and serving on local boards unrelated to being a trustee. Of course, motherhood itself is an advanced management course, and her 2 twins are here to attest to that. There are 2 twins, I guess. When she saw a need in the larger community for lawyers specializing in environmental law and land use, she enhanced her legal background by recently getting an advanced degree in environmental law at Pace. Let me be specific. As trustee, Rhea worked with others to create 3 new committees enhancing the village focus on the environment: an Economic Advisory Council, the Sustainable Advisory Committee, and finally, the Climate Smart Task Force. Adding 16 community volunteers involved collaboration, planning, interviewing, and selection, and of course, teamwork. As a trustee, Rhea brings both legal and land use expertise as she serves as a liaison to our village council on village agreements, new legislation, and long-term development planning. While we are a small village, the wise development of land and other resources is vital. Like so many of us, she and her family enjoyed the area's beauty, including its trails and parks. Rhea's especially interest in protecting our water sources and bodies, including the Pocanico and Hudson rivers. I've had the pleasure of living in Briarcliff for almost 56 years and benefiting from the nonpartisan volunteers like yourselves who run for election for village offices. Rhea is one determined lady who wants to get things done the right way. It's great that she enjoys serving us and working with her fellow volunteers. I enthusiastically place Rhea's name, Mallett's name, before you as a candidate for the Briarcliff Village Board of Trustees and hope that you will consider her for election in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bozak. And now I'd like to invite up Trustee Rhea Mallett to give a 5-minute acceptance speech. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Barry, for your kind introduction. You've been a great friend since my family moved here, and your introduction to so many Briarcliff residents, coupled with your colorful sharing of local history on our walks on our street, really jump-started my personal connection to the village while confirming that my family's decision to call Briarcliff home was an ideal choice. So thank you for nominating me a second time. And I want to thank my daughter, Maribel, for seconding the nomination. You are a treasure and my favorite daughter. And it means so much to me to have you, your brother Max, and my husband David here to support me tonight. Volunteering for the village can be a serious commitment of time and energy, which of course necessitates balancing other responsibilities, and I appreciate your confidence that I will continue to juggle these various commitments effectively. And finally, thank you to the members of the People's Caucus Executive Committee for your constant hard work, continuing this nonpartisan process, which really keeps the issues and candidates focused on local concerns while fostering greater community collaboration. So thank you all. I'm honored to be nominated as a candidate for village trustee for a second term. 2 years ago, I ran because I saw how much work the then Board of Trustees was doing to strengthen our Briarcliff community, updating and improving local laws, providing excellent operational management, and promoting sound long-term planning of capital projects and infrastructure improvements. But I could not have anticipated then how much we would have accomplished for the past 2 years through collaboration and hard work while maintaining our commitment to the residents who elected us, who remain our #1 priority. A commitment that really shines through in the increased level of communication with residents, the transparency of our government operations, and most importantly, the practice of giving everyone in this community a voice and a platform to be heard. For example, all of the public hearings before the Board of Trustees are kept open a minimum of 2 meetings. Why? Because we want to make sure that everyone who wants to be heard has an opportunity to be heard at those public hearings. Similarly, at every board meeting, there are multiple opportunities for residents to speak and provide comments, and we won't close the meeting until everyone has a chance to be heard. We receive letters, emails, and social media posts constantly from residents that are then directed to the appropriate staff members. And recently, many of these have been to compliment village staff for a job well done. And just in the past month, we received compliments for work well done by our Public Works Department, our Building Department, and our Parks Department employees. So congratulations to everyone who works for the village and does such a great job. I am especially happy over these past 2 years about my efforts to expand public participation in our local government. As Barry referenced, I helped lead the charge to establish 3 new committees. It was a collaborative effort. We helped improve the process of broadcasting open committee appointments. We encouraged more volunteerism, and we also fine-tuned the entire selection process. I am told that we probably had more residents apply for committee openings in the last 2 years than ever before. I personally have interviewed residents for committees positions as well as candidates for staff positions. This village is now served by excellent people, both resident volunteers and paid staff who guide our community effectively. It is an honor to be part of such a village government and see the quality and commitment of these volunteers and employees, and it is one reason why I'm seeking re-election for a second term. This particular board, with Mayor Steve Vessio, Deputy Mayor Peter Chatsky, Kevin Hunt, Malcolm Netburn, and myself, are ensuring that our organizational structure and our long-range planning provides village services that are the best of the best. Operational improvements, recreational offerings, and facilities and quality of life improvements are continually done to provide an optimally run village, which is what everyone who lives in the village deserves and has come to expect. We partner with other governmental agencies frequently, whether it is sharing water delivery operations with Sleepy Hollow and Terrytown, road paving costs with the town of Ossining, or even being the catalyst, which we were, in a statewide effort to make Route 9A safer for all travelers throughout the state. We also work with New York State to identify grant opportunities to improve elements of the village at a reduced cost to taxpayers. As Barry referenced, we've increased the village's commitment and the community's involvement to sustainability as we strive to protect our surrounding open space, which is not only a priority in our comprehensive plan, but is one of the many reasons so many families move to Briarcliff and refuse to leave even after their children have grown. Briarcliff is on the verge of great promise right now, given its acquisition of a large tract of land in the downtown and the Streetscapes program, and I welcome the opportunity to continue to bring my specific expertise in land use and as a land use attorney to the board for the next 2 years. I hope everyone here tonight and everyone listening will support my nomination for a 2-year term, and I look forward to speaking more about my goals for the village at next week's Meet the Candidates Night. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Trustee Mallett. Before we move on to the final nomination, I do want to just do one quick housekeeping item, or two rather. First, I'd like to welcome Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg. Thank you for being here. Mayor Steve Vessio, thank you for being here as well. And Deputy Mayor Peter Chatsky, thank you. We appreciate the support of our elected officials. One other thing is Gary Cahill from the Gazette could not make it tonight. So candidates and nominators, if you could email either him or myself your speeches so we can get it out into the press for this upcoming week. My email is a.spring.ossining@gmail.com, but we can talk after the meeting, or I can give you Gary's directly. Thank you. I'd now like to invite up Reverend Carlick to nominate Trustee Kevin Hunt.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a pleasure to nominate Kevin. I've known Kevin for a long time. I moved here 21 years ago, and I've been serving this community for 21 years. And alongside of me has been Kevin Hunt. Kevin has worked with me in various different duties in different spaces, of course, but I want to give you the real spreadsheet, if you don't mind. One, he was elected to the Board of Trustees in 2018, finishing third term, currently running for 1 year unexpired term, contributing, meaningful from day one. This is how he contributed to our area here. Planned and implemented ambulance billing for Briarcliff Ambulance. Planned and implemented electronic medical records for Briarcliff Ambulance as a means to facilitate record keeping and ambulance billing. Both of these initiatives have been stalled for years, implemented within 6 months of board membership. No cost to Briarcliff Manor for implementation. We have over $600,000 collected in ambulance billing to date. And we are looking at so many other things to be brought in and to benefit us as a village. He participated fully in all aspects of board activities, Briarcliff Manor Library, and active board liaison. Briarcliff involvement. This is where I know Kevin. 27-year resident of the village of Briarcliff Manor. He serves right now, currently, Briarcliff Manor Fire Department and Ambulance. 18 plus consecutive years of active service in the ladder company and ambulance, an EMT and interior firefighter certifications. Over 4,000 ambulance fire calls to Briarcliff residents and surrounding areas. 10 years as officer in ambulance, 8 years as captain. Driver of the Tower Ladder 40, Rescue 37 in ambulances. Recipient of the Joe Piazzi Award of Excellence in 2016, department-wide Firefighter of the Year. Westchester Regional EMS Council, board member. Westchester Regional Governing Body of County EMS Agencies, 8 years. All immediate family members are and have been EMTs. Professional experience, 25 plus years in blue chip consumer packaging goods, marketing and sales. Brand manager, strategic planning. And then he works for Snapple and Cadbury and Kraft, and going on to doing tutoring for 10 years. But most of all is his education. At Columbia Business School, an MBA, and he was a graduate of Cornell University. Do I just have a minute or two?
You got about a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the way I want to do this. Everybody likes to read a speech and have their numbers straight and make it there. I'm not that kind of guy. Here's what I know. I know Kevin. Kevin loves to joke. Everybody who knows Kevin knows he loves to joke. But it's no joke what he does. It's no joke about how he cares for this community. I've seen him firsthand show his commitment to this community by being there for calls, helping people who are in crisis, and to be able to bring calming to that situation. I've also seen his commitment and wanting the best for Briarcliff Manor. He's willing to serve on boards. He's willing to give his time. And you know something? He's willing to sacrifice. Because if you're willing to sacrifice for the fire department, I've been on for 20 years. You're willing to do that and sacrifice all that time and that you have to do. And he did it without complaining. I'm telling you. Joking, but not complaining. Got to say it like it is. I want you to know, I personally have benefited from the care of Kevin. You know, when you join the fire department or you become a person in this village, it's very easy to be lost and just live by yourself. But you see, with Kevin, he has a way of sucking you in and bringing you into a family. I had a crisis where I was hit by a car. I was in the burn unit for 7 days. And in order to see me, you had to suit up and put on all the stuff and to come see me. Kevin, I only knew you a little while. But Kevin came and he'd bring me food. He brought me a gift. And he didn't know me that well. But let me tell you something, after that meeting, he's my best friend. And I honestly want you to know, you voting for him is voting for Briarcliff Manor because he will bring the best. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Reverend Carlick. I'd now like to invite up Trustee Kevin Hunt to accept the nomination.
Thank you very much. By the way, the gift was a remote control truck. How cool is that? Good evening. I'm very glad to be here with you once again to accept a nomination for a village trustee position. I very much appreciate all my other board members and Pastor Carlick for going through all those things. I don't have to talk about any of them anymore. You know what we do as a board, all the great things. He went through my background better than I could have. So I also want to thank especially Aaron Spring and the Executive Committee for the People's Caucus for all their hard work. And so in particular, hearty thanks to Pastor Tony Carlick for his kind words in putting forth my nomination. I told him, please go be at least a little bit animated about it. I'm not sure, he caught that all together, but right. I am here tonight to accept the nomination to fill the one-year unexpired term from Ned Midgley. I do so with a profound measure of gratitude. As I've said in past acceptance speeches, Briarcliff is the first place I've lived that's ever really felt like home. In the 26 years my family has lived here, and we've celebrated incredibly high points and mourned tragically low points. It is the profound sense of community that we feel in Briarcliff that has been a godsend through it all. In the 26 years we've lived here, I've been a member of the Briarcliff Manor Fire Department and EMS for over 18 years. Aide as captain. Sorry, he already said that. I've been a member of the Board of Trustees for the past 6 years and a member of the Briarcliff Rotary for about as long, 2 years as president. I hope with all you've heard tonight, you do believe that I love Briarcliff. This Saturday would have been my son Lars' 30th birthday. He left us nearly 5 years ago. We miss him terribly every day, but especially on his birthday. It's been weighing heavily on my mind. What makes it bearable is knowing that we don't have to go through it alone. With the fire department, the village board and staff, the Rotary Club, and all my friends and neighbors, we have an incredible support group. That comes from being a real part of this beautiful community. I owe a great debt that I don't feel I could ever repay, but hopefully can pay it forward. The last several years as a part of the Board of Trustees has been especially rewarding. I have far exceeded any political aspirations I have ever had. All of the trustees I've served with, past and present, have been exceptionally bright and committed people. I've learned a great deal from every one of them. That the board is nonpartisan makes it truly special. We frequently disagree on certain matters, and each of us has a unique perspective from our various backgrounds. But we can intelligently and dispassionately share thoughts and ideas to arrive at what we all really want. And that is what's best for our village. What a refreshing change from the current national political climate. A great deal has been accomplished over the last several years. It has been my distinct privilege to have a front row seat to most all of the inner workings, competing priorities, and fine details of so many projects. It never ceases to amaze me how many incredibly smart and talented neighbors we have working and living in this village. Every time we send out a request for interest in filling a volunteer post in some committee or task force, we get dozens of letters and resumes from very, very accomplished people. This is truly a great place to live. As I walk my dog Pickles, I frequently have neighbors stop to talk to me about some particular village thing that they may have on their minds. I'm generally happy to stop and listen. It's important. I've lost track of the number of times I've heard, why can't you just, implying that there's a simple solution to everything. Every once in a while, there could be an easy solution. Something can be done with a simple phone call. More often, it's not entirely straightforward. It is amazing to me how interconnected everything is and how often a simple solution can be elusive. There are a lot of moving parts, and they don't always move quickly. That's why it's so important to get many people involved. That may be as a member of the fire/EMS department, a village board or committee, the library, recreation, et cetera, et cetera. There are so many ways to get involved. It's a sure way to make certain that Briarcliff Manor is always an exceptional place to live. Briarcliff Manor is my home. I am incredibly blessed in so many ways. Giving back is a very meaningful way to acknowledge my gratitude. I accept the nomination for trustee. It is a great thing to do, and I will look forward to doing it for one more year. Thank you for your indulgence, support. I look forward to maybe keeping you a little bit lighter at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Hunt. We have a couple more items and then we'll adjourn this meeting. One is I'd like to open the nomination for the slate of candidates for the Executive Committee of the People's Caucus of Briarcliff Manor. I, Aaron Spring, am going to stand for another year as Executive Chairman. And if my Executive Committee would like to just introduce themselves and say what they're going to go for the next year, I'd appreciate it.
I'm Kathy Bhattacharya. I'm currently the Vice President, and I would like to do this for one more year.
My name is Susan Cabral. I'm the treasurer, and I'm happy to do this for one more year.
And I'm Ken Dengler, member at large. I hope to do it again for another year.
Is there a motion to nominate our slate?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you. We are in need of a secretary. We are currently looking for one. So if anybody has any leads, it's not a lot of work. It's, a couple meetings a year, and it'd be a great way to serve our village. So please. I'm sorry?
You have to get coffee.
Yes. Two more things. Next week, the 17th of January, will be our Meet the Candidates night. We will meeting here. Because this is not contested and the nominations are closed, there will not be a special voting meeting on the 24th. Therefore, next Wednesday, the 17th, our caucus will have nominating petitions ready to go. We have to collect 100 signatures to get our candidates on the ballot. We will aim for 300. So those petitions will be ready next week, and we will go over that this weekend and make sure that those are printed out in time. Another thing that I would like to discuss, this is really a plea as chairman, is we do operate as volunteers. However, we do have a budget, and we operate based off the kind donations of our neighbors and friends of the caucus. So if at some point you feel generous to give $50 or $100 toward the caucus in either a check or we have Zelle, please contact me or come to the next meeting and talk to one of the members. We're looking to raise a few $1,000s to cover costs of everything. We're in good financial shape, but in order to keep this moving, we do have to continue to collect. So that's our one ask. We volunteer our time and we love doing it. However, we also just want to make sure that this system can ensure its survival. So please consider that, and we would appreciate anything that you can give. Finally, our final date for the election is going to be March 19th, 2024. So if people want to make a note of that, we are going to solicit poll watchers to volunteer their time for an hour or two during the day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we will send out a list to people who have poll watched in the past. If you haven't poll watched in the past and that's something that's interesting to you, please reach out to me as well. And other than that, I have no other business. Is there any business from the caucus?
Given the candidates are uncontested, will the caucus be submitting one ballot for the slate tonight or at the next meeting?
Thank you for reminding me. We will submit that ballot tonight. Would you like to make the motion, Mayor Vesio?
I make a motion that I would normally say the secretary, but I'll make a motion that the vice president makes a cast one ballot for the slate nominated tonight.
Any second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mayor Vesio. All right. Any other business from the caucus? Seeing none, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.